Hi, welcome back to Cooking with Canines at Old Tavern Farm. It's the middle of July, edging towards the end of July, and I've just been outside doing some picking, and we had some massive zucchini. Anybody who's ever grown any zucchini knows that if you miss them for one day, they can just explode. So before I go any further, I just want to address the elephant in the room. Yes, my hair is wet. Yes, it is a lot shorter than it used to be. And I just got so fed up with it, I sat down with a pair of scissors and asked my husband to just cut it. I do kind of crazy things sometimes, but it's just too hot to deal with hair. So I'll get it fixed later when we get through with harvest season and things calm down a little bit. All right, so anyway, I also did want to say thank you so much for all the subscribers and all the interest and all the love that I'm getting with this channel. It's just really fun for me. It'll never go anywhere, but it's just like, I just love cooking and baking and bringing that to you guys and hoping that maybe you can benefit from some of these great recipes. Speaking of which, this recipe is one that I have used for years at work. So I've tested it. I've doubled it, tripled it, quadrupled it. It's totally tolerant. It works great. It never fails. It's zucchini bread. So when we get these gigantic, so it's still got dew on it. It's still got like the old blossom hand and everything, but it's giant. You know, you could probably hurt somebody with this thing. Not that I would. But yeah, so what I like to do with these gigantic beasts is I like to bake with them. And don't have my side towel on me right at the moment. I like to bake with them, and the smaller ones I like to cook with. So without further ado, I'm going to give you this recipe that I have used forever. It's called Mom's Zucchini Bread. It's on all recipes. It's actually one that I picked up off of an internet site, and it's great. And I'll put the link in the description box. I promise. I know I've been bad about that technical stuff, about putting stuff in the description box. I've heard from my sons. Sorry, people. I finish a video and then I'm like, pew, out the door. So, okay, so what I have here, this is a wet-dry muffin method. So you're going to take your dry ingredients and your wet ingredients. You're going to mix them separately, and then you're going to combine them, and then you're going to bake them right away. So it's a quick bread. All right, so I have 3 cups of flour, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and 1 tablespoon of cinnamon. That's what's in this bowl. So that's my dry. So I'm just going to take a whisk and kind of whisk that up a little bit. Back in the day, we used to have these, or these sifter things that usually were rusty, and they were like from the 40s, or they were made of tin. I don't know. They were kind of icky. The screens underneath were all clogged with flour. Remember those? Come on, you guys. Remember your home ec labs? It's like, oh, you had the like 60s maple cabinets with the, you know, the drawers, you know, with the like things in there that were like all, oh, yeah. I don't know why our home ec labs across this country are so depressing. But that's okay. We'll carry on, soldier on, Americans, in your home ec labs. All right, so this is all whisked, okay? Then I'm going to take my wet ingredients, and I'm going to take 3 eggs, and I'm going to add 3 teaspoons of vanilla to that. And then I'm going to take 2 1/4 cups of white sugar and add that to that. Now, when we're making fruit breads, vegetable breads, any kind of quick bread like carrot cake, a lot of times they'll ask you to take the sugar and put it into the wet. And so it's nothing will happen, you know, the sky won't fall or anything if you put the sugar in your dry ingredient. But the trick is that the sugar is, there's a scientific name for it and I can't think of it at the moment, but sugar attracts water. So when you put the sugar, the white sugar in there, it will pull out all the moisture and water that is to be found at the molecular level. It's science, people. It's science. It's got to be true. So I'm going to mix my sugar into my eggs and my vanilla and just give it a quick whisk. So it basically looks, woo, Whoa, that was close. It basically looks like kind of a batter in itself. Then I'm going to take 1 cup of shelf-stable liquid oil. I know, I'm doing it. But I'm running out of olive oil. So use what you have, right? So I'm going to, in this instance, I'm going to use vegetable oil. But you can use any kind of liquid oil you want. Doesn't matter. You could even use melted butter, which would be cool, actually. All right, so 1 cup of oil. Sorry. Mix, mix, mix. And even if you don't get it completely incorporated, it's not the end of the world. Okay, mix, mix, mix. And what I might do is I might, because these bowls are kind of small. You know, I always like to forget something. It's just part of the whole script. You know, I think, look, right here. I'll take my bigger bowl and I'll add my dry ingredients, because these bowls were getting a little small there. Okay, so there's my dry in there. And here's my wet ingredients. And I'm gonna put 2 cups of shredded zucchini right into that bowl and try to get incorporated. I'm gonna change out my whisk here. That's probably the better part of valor here. Grab a spoon and then just kind of mix that a little bit together, just so it's incorporated. Now the zucchini is gonna release some moisture, but don't fret. It'll be fine. These bigger zucchinis are full of liquid and full of pulp, and they're really not much good for eating per se. I mean, you could eat them, you could spiralize them or fry them, or you know, any of those things, but they're kind of pithy. The insides of them is kind of like overgrown, so to speak. So okay, so there's my mixture. I did it again. Oh, I spilled it this time. Woo! It's never a party till you spill your batter, right? All right, so dry and liquid. I'm just gonna combine them in the same bowl. Try and get everything out. Okay. Set that over here. All right, my kitchen's kind of a mess today because I've been processing things and it's like there's stuff everywhere. So anyway, you're just gonna mix those 2 things together. Now, when you're doing muffins or quick breads of any kind, the better part of the game is to not overmix it. Sometimes if you've ever had a muffin from a muffin shop or a bakery that had like big holes in it, or it was kind of rubbery or tough, it's because it was overmixed. So just try to get the flour incorporated with the liquid, or your dry ingredients incorporated with your wet ingredients. And that's all you need to do. It's, if you get a little piece of dry in there, who cares? In fact, I serve it like that. It's like, you know, it's just a little clump of flour. It's not that, you know, it's not some kind of like dire spy poison or something like that. It's fine. Let's do a student come to another coworker and say, what's this in the little, and I was like, it's just flour, it's fine, here, let's just take it out and it's fine. All right, so I'm gonna take these guys. I love these guys and I use them all the time. They're like 4x8 aluminum loaf pans. I don't do anything fancy when I'm doing putting up baking and holiday baking and stuff like that. I take these guys and I bake in them and I wash them and I reuse them constantly. So you can just get them at the, who makes these? HFA 3160. Not exactly Flower Meadow by Pioneer Woman or one of those pretty ones. I love Pioneer Woman, but I need lots of these guys when I'm baking. So I save the Pioneer Woman for special occasions and for holiday meals and when company's coming, but these guys are like 4x8 loaf pans. They're kind of on the small side compared to most, but this recipe will fit equal parts into two of these guys. And I've pre-sprayed them. And I'm just gonna take my bowl and I'm just gonna scrape in. So you can kind of see the batter's got kind of a sort of loose peanut buttery kind of texture to it. and I'm gonna switch implements. And as often is the case around here, I have like one spatula, one serrated knife, it's like one pie pan. I mean, I'm a professional cook. Sometimes. You would think I would have like, I love this thing where people say, oh, it's a gourmet chef, it's a gourmet chef's kitchen. In most cases, full disclosure, really, like behind the scenes, in most cases, chefs, real like employed to cook type people are probably usually employing their bathtub to wash things or drain pasta or do something. We don't have fancy kitchens. Well, some of us might, but a lot of us don't. This is a cook's kitchen right here. I would love to have a fancy kitchen, but I have horses, so there you go. All right, so I'm gonna take my spatula, my one spatula, and I'm gonna finish dividing this. Okay, so, and I was reminded by my mother this week. I've been guilty of banging when my mother went to home ec school when she was in the 50s, I think it was, they did not take lightly banging your spoon on your bowl. So, hi Mom, love you. All right, so there you go. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna bake these at 350 for about 45 or 50 minutes. You wanna go straight from the pan right into the oven and get those going because it's a quick bread and you need the oven heat to make it spring up. So I'm gonna set these over here on the side and then I will put them right into the oven as soon as you guys go off and do your gardening. But this is what you're gonna come up with. It's a really delicious, now I do put walnuts in mine and I'll show you, I use just raw walnuts. This is just one I got at my local little market in the next village up. You can do pecans, you can do chocolate chips, you can do white chocolate chips would be really good. You can put dried cranberries in there. You can do whatever you want. Those are called, that addition is called add-ins. So you can put whatever add-ins you want into your breads. A lot of times I don't put nuts in it because I'm used to baking and cooking for people with allergies. So I tend to leave the nuts out unless I know for certain who's gonna be eating it. So, so yeah, but people love nuts in their zucchini bread, banana bread, all that. So anyway, I'm going back to work. Thank you for visiting. Virtual hugs. Hug, 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 hug. Eat your zucchini bread. It's good for you. Bye-bye.